Welcome to this Mindful Monday. It might not be Monday when you're watching the recording, and that is okay. The intention is there to have something to start the week in a mindful way, but when you choose to join that, that is okay. And actually, I was thinking about this because I'm busy updating the website. I nearly posted about it in the Facebook group yesterday, and I will probably later today, because it's not quite perfect yet. Well, it's not perfect at all, but we never really were going for perfect. So I have a domain, and at one point I had a website, I had a platform, and then we had Mighty Networks, and we had a website with the domain. That was ridiculous. So I tried to recreate the website where the domain is, and I could. I am an intelligent woman. I am. Could I do it? No, I could not. Could I understand it? No, I could not. And I know some of the people in the Zoom room already know about this, because it said things like, this easy step-by-step setup instructions with WordPress. No, not easy. Not 5 minutes, and I could not do it. And the reason I was trying to struggle was I was trying to get it so I could use it like a blog, where should anybody read the blog, because of course most of the time it's just me, you read it in Facebook sometimes, people could comment. I like the idea people could comment. I know that invites varied opinion, but that's okay as well. Couldn't do it. And then I thought, I had this original that when I first set up Befriending Me and did my things, I used Podia. And it was actually really simple. So I went back to Podia. I got rid of the website, so I lost everything. In one swoop, I lost it all. And I've been trying to use the domain in Podia, and I can't. I've managed to direct it, so that's a start. Directing it means that if you remember yogarogue.co.uk, it doesn't matter, it'll direct you there. And it doesn't really matter if it says yogarogue. I've had help from the Zoom room offered, just letting everyone know on the recording. Oh, there is help. I shall tell you later what the issue is. But if I could actually get the Podia site in the domain, that would be how I would be delighted. And I managed to get it with the help of my younger child, who is 22 today, by the way. We managed to get it in a frame, and that sounds great, and it looked great, and it had the domain, and then when you looked on your phone, it was terrible because it didn't give a mobile view. So it was no good, because most people are going in on the phones. And the reason it's important for you listening on your phone is some of you use your phone for recordings, and yeah, you can use Facebook, you can use various things, but if I have everything in one place, the links in one place, even press play for some of the meditations and things, then that makes it easier. So, expect to see in the Facebook group soon a link to the new website, which will be perfectly imperfect. And the yogarogue.co.uk will somehow get us there. It might end up being the domain again, but it will lead there, because it's at least we can remember it. At least I can remember it. So that's the plan. And within that, there'll be access to the blog, and there's a community area like we had in Mighty Networks. Should anybody want, you can post in it, like we did in Mighty Networks, and you can post links in it. You can post whatever you want in it. And then there's a blog bit within the community bit as well, which means you can comment on it. And this came up last week. If you don't use Facebook, you can obviously use it, but you can also message on it, and a message goes to me. We have to test it out, because I don't know how effective it is, but it is coming. So there's the tumble into the Monday. Now let's get mindful. For those watching the recording, the Zoom room are all like looking at me with this kind of affectionate, oh, bless her. Oh, she's so uncentered on a Monday. So let's have a centering. Let's go back to our ABC. So wherever you are, stand or sit. eyes can be closed if you want a more meditative version, but open if you want to practice the skill of centering for everyday life. And A is awareness. Notice the space that you're in, sounds in the distance, scents and smells in the air, sounds closer by, whatever you can see, familiar items and objects. Then notice your body resting, either your feet on the ground or your body resting on furniture. And take your awareness inwards. How do you feel on the inside? How am I today? How am I as a body today? Notice if there's tension, discomfort. Notice if you can find a sensation on an area in your body that feels good, even pleasure. Find it. And then notice your breath. Inhale. The rise up and then the flow into the exhale. And back round again. B for balance. Have a little rock. Back and forth. Side to side. Up and down. Find that sweet spot of least efforts. And then see if you can bring some balance to the breath, breathing in and out equally. And take awareness to the core, the center. We are looking for softness without collapse. So inhale, lengthen up through the spine. Exhale, soften through the forehead, the eyes, the jaw, have a wiggle. The neck, shoulders, chest and belly. Inhale up. Exhale. And that's good, all on its own as a centering. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale. Second C for connection, bringing to mind someone that makes you feel warm inside. It might be your cat or dog. It might be a different pet. It might be a person. It might be the face smiling back on the screen if you're in the Zoom room. And then let that go. Okay, we're going to have a check-in. What could you check in? You could maybe check in as a texture. What texture? Ooh, what texture are you today? Are you smooth and shiny? Are you soft and fluffy? Are you like sandpaper? Are you a bit prickly and spiky? As ever, this is an invitation. You can check in however you choose. I'm going to pause the recording and see how the Zoom room feels. Some lovely reflections in the Zoom room and noticing the contrast of when we feel good and when we feel not so good. And sometimes realizing that it's all part of life's experience. If we felt good the whole time, I know I'm speaking to a lot of people with health challenges, so it does change things slightly, but not just physically. If everything was smooth and perfect all of the time, we wouldn't know it was smooth and perfect. There has to be a degree of contrast. There has to be a degree of variety. That is the nature of human existence, including, as we've just been discussing, the embracing of all things, all people, all insects, including wasps. That's what happened in the Zoom room this morning. So, the last few Mindful Mondays, we were talking about compassion, as always, awareness, acceptance, and we were talking about curiosity last week, and I was thinking about it afterwards, and as we discussed curiosity, we were going into a bit of evaluation. But there's another aspect of curiosity which links to intention, because when we have awareness, acceptance, intention, curiosity flows in there somewhere. So the curiosity of considering, weighing up, thinking about, evaluating is kind of got a leaning back. We lean back and we look, we take it all in. But there is another aspect to curiosity, which is a moving forward. It's part of the intention. It's the sampling. It's the testing. It's the dipping in a toe. And that has a feeling of being forward. See if that makes any sense. And I pulled out the book, and I did it this morning. Well, actually, I lie. I don't quite lie. I opened up the first page and I didn't like what it offered. I'm trying to remember what it was. It wasn't a particularly nice attribute, so I thought we'll save that for another time. Let's try something else. And optimism came up, and I thought that was quite good. What was the one that came up? It was, I'll remember. I will remember and I'll tell you about it. But it wasn't something, it was something like resentment. And I thought, we're going to explore that, but maybe not today. Because if we're looking at intention and we're looking at curiosity, it's not that we should be always 100% optimistic, but it's good to explore with a little bit of optimism. Why? Let's see what optimism brings us. What we think or say. I know good things and bad things happen to people, but mostly good things happen to me. That sounds a bit like a mantra. Its impact on openness. Well, it brings us openness. It makes us open. It makes us receptive. That's positive. Related emotions. Hope. Ambition, enthusiasm. Our reaction or impulse for action is to act freely with hope for a good outcome. I think I'm a naturally optimistic person and have been since childhood. And I don't mean, we're not going to sort of dip into toxic positivity, which is a phrase that's sprung up over the last few years, especially on social media, and it's not about that. We already said this morning there has to be a range of experience, a range of emotion, but an optimistic or a portion of optimism can be helpful in bringing hope and joy in the journey. My mum talks about us travelling through France and as a family and stopping at a hotel, one of many, and she didn't like it. And she was, arms folded and very cross with my dad, who's clearly it was all his fault. And me pulling at her arm and saying, "It's okay, Mum. Look, it's lovely out of the window." And that's that level of optimism that comes more naturally to some of us, and some of us at different times as well. It can depend how you wake up. It can depend on other circumstances, other things that have happened. It can influence one's optimism. Purpose. To keep us looking for the silver lining. The orientation. That's interesting. The orientation is for the future. It's about what will happen. I think if I had no optimism, we wouldn't be here now, because when I'd become unwell and retired, it would have been a downward spiral. So it can lead to action, which is where it comes into awareness, acceptance, intention. How can it get in the way? Well, it's the toxic positivity. If people are too positive, it can lead people to be unrealistic or blind to danger. I was a little over optimistic once. Well, more than once. I took my 2 children on holiday to Tunisia when they were really quite young, and I was on my own, and we went and stayed with a company that doesn't exist anymore called closetothelocals.com. I was maybe a little bit positive about what that... We were safe, but I had to make sure we did certain things. But emotions we confuse it with. Hope is something quite different. How we feel, how it feels or moves us. We act confidently. We believe the outcome will be good, and so we take it forward. We try it. We take the curiosity and we move with intention. How our body might feel energized. How our breath might be fast-paced, mid-chest. How our body might be open and moving forwards. So, my invitation to you is to think of something that you would like to do. It can be the smallest of projects. Something that you would like to carry forward. Something that you would like to develop. Whether it's a project, a plan, a relationship of some kind, a friend, a work thing. And notice how you feel about it. Notice where you feel it in your body. And notice if there is a natural tendency to constrict and move back and have a feel. Or if you can shift it and open to a bit more possibility, open with a sense of optimism. Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, this will work. The website will get sorted. The website will be accessible. You will be able to message me effectively on it. I'm going to stand up and move over there. Notice how you feel in your body. And bring something to mind. The thing doesn't have to be big. It might be the rest of your day. It might be what you're going to do with the rest of your day. We already had some discussion in the Zoom room about if a weekend hasn't gone so well and you're back home in a place that you're happy to be, you might already be filled with optimism for the day ahead, the hours ahead. And remember the curiosity with discernment and reviewing and... sorry, Jessica's still trying to get in. Let's try her there. And that curiosity where we sort of reviewed, thought, considered. And then consider it as a stepping inwards. So we've done this entering in pose before where the front knee is bent and the direction is a bit more forward. And we are entering in as a movement forwards. Don't worry too much about the setup. Feel it in your body. Movement is a little bit forward. Weight is a little bit forward. Arms out in front. Where is this project going to go? Where is this day going to go? And believe it with a sense of optimism. With a sense of positivity. With a sense of joy. And with curiosity, notice any shift in your body. So, front knee is bent. If you do set it up, back leg is strong. Weight is, you're not leaning, but the direction of movement is a bit forwards. And then let it go. Have a wiggle, have a shake. Maybe bring a hand to heart, a hand to belly, or even take a hug. Whatever feels good. Notice how you feel. Even be aware of if you can bring optimism into your body. Can it feel more open? Can it lift your chest? Can it open your heart? And does that alter how you feel? Don't worry if it doesn't. This is something to test out, to try. And have a wiggle. have a shake. I'm going to come and sit back down. So noticing how that feels, noticing how a sense of positivity, without slipping into that, oh, everything's going to be perfect. Just that idea, that curious positivity with intent moving forwards. And if it can lift and open. Okay, we're going to have a guided meditation. So, an invitation to get comfy. Sit or lie however you choose. As you know, traditionally we sit tall, but you can be however you want. And we're going to focus on the breath. Keep bringing our attention back to the breath today, with the idea of the breath opening the chest, opening the heart, bringing a sense of optimism, a sense of hope, a sense of warmth. So allowing yourself to settle, making any wiggles and jiggles. And if at any point you don't feel good, you need to move, do so and resettle. Notice your breath again now. Notice where you feel it through your body. Perhaps you can imagine it filling your entire body. Breathing in and feeling a sense of expansion. And breathing out, softening, finding ease. Breathing in and feeling optimistic hope for anything you do. Breathing out with softness, a sense of love. And take your awareness right to the center of the chest. Perhaps you can imagine a light there, a colour of your choice in the heart space. And maybe you can imagine that colour representing optimism, curiosity, hope, anything that brings warmth spreading through the body. Breathing in, feeling that light glow brighter. Breathing out, feeling it soften and dim. Now take your awareness back to the chest, sensing, imagining the heart space surrounded by the lungs. With each breath in, feel that light brightening, filling the heart, filling the lungs. A sense of positivity, a sense of warmth, a sense of opening. Breathing in, expanding. Breathing out with softness, with ease. Taking awareness back to the heart space, the center of the heart, the lungs, and the whole chest. Noticing, sensing, imagining the rib cage, the spine, the upper back. encasing, protecting, caring for the heart and the lungs. That light from the heart, expanding, brightening, softening, dimming. Breathing in with optimistic hope, with a sense of warmth and openness. Breathing out with softness, ease, and love. Awareness of the heart space, the very center of the chest. The light beginning in that very middle. Spreading out through the heart, through the lungs, through the whole of the chest, and down into the belly. Allowing the energy from that light to fill the belly as well. Breathing in, bringing expansion, optimism, a sense of positive hope. Breathing out with softness, with ease, with love. Allowing your attention to rest on the breath here for a few moments, expanding and brightening, filling the heart, the lungs and the belly, and softening, dimming, back to the center. Sensing and imagining that light expanding out from the center of the chest, filling the heart, the lungs, the belly, and through the pelvis down into the legs. Expanding and brightening, contracting and softening. Spreading a sense of positivity, gently, openness, optimism. Spreading through the hips and the upper legs, the knees, the lower legs, the feet and each toe. Breathing in, expanding, brightening, glowing. Growth in optimism, growth in hope. And breathing out, nourishing, softening, dimming, back to the heart space. And giving a little bit of time on your breath here, expanding and softening, filling the heart, the lungs, the whole of the chest, the belly, the hips and the legs, and softening. Breathing in, expanding, breathing out, softness and love. taking awareness to the heart space, the source of the light, and sensing it spread out through the heart, through the lungs, through the whole of the chest and belly, through the legs down to the feet, and the light expanding up through the shoulders and down the arms to both hands, filling each finger and each thumb. Breathing in, expanding, brightening, filling with hope and optimism. Breathing out, softening, dimming, safely back to the heart space. Expanding and softening. Breathing in and breathing out. The light expanding and softening, led by the breath. Taking awareness to that center of the chest, the center of the heart space, and the light there. Expanding out through the heart, the lungs, the whole of the chest, the belly, the legs, the arms, up into the head. Sensing, imagining the breath filling the whole body. The light expanding, shining, brightening, filling with optimism, filling with hope. Breathing out, softening, contracting, loving, back to the heart space. Expanding, relaxing, shining, softening, filling with the breath. And sensing or imagining the space around the whole body. The space around the head, the neck, the arms, the chest and belly, the back, the legs, the hands and the feet. And that light expanding from the center of the chest, the center of the heart, glowing, filling the heart, the lungs, the chest, the belly, the arms and the legs, the head, and the space around the whole body. Breathing in, the light expanding, glowing, filling the whole body with optimism, with hope. Breathing out, softening, dimming, but filling with love. And allowing your awareness to settle on the breath. Breathing in and brightening. Breathing out and softening. The whole body filling with optimism, with openness. And follow the pattern of the breath. Just for the next couple of minutes. expanding, relaxing, nourishing, loving, with optimism, hope. Breathing in and breathing out. That light expanding from the heart space, filling the entire body, and the space around the body, glowing, open, full of optimism, hope, ease and softness. And then as you breathe, feel that light diminishing back to the center of the chest, back to the heart space, back to where it's safe. Safe for you anytime you need it. Perhaps taking a hand to heart, one to belly, or taking a hug. Feeling into the warmth of the light in the heart space. And maybe an intention to take a little bit of that light, that brightness, that optimism, just a little bit of it into the day ahead. And notice how that feels in the body. Take any movements you need. Perhaps a stretch. Perhaps you need to stay exactly where you are. And that's okay too. When you're ready, if you're ready, come back to the screen, back to where we began. And if you're watching the recording, thank you for joining us. See you next time.